love it.
I'm so glad. Your feedback has been incredible, and it's led to why you're here.
I know. Yes.
Without further ado, guys, welcome to Unmuzzled Chat. We're just going to kick that back off again for the intro. We got a very special guest here today.
Ew.
Everyone welcome Charmaine.
You did it. I'm so proud.
I know this beautiful woman is Atom Bomb. She actually's got a lot of fun names that she goes by, and maybe we can dive into that a bit. Now, before we really dive into this episode, I do want to mention, because I did not make it clear on the hat giveaway, which we don't know, are we doing it today, tomorrow, or at some point later this week? Tune in and find out. But what I didn't mention was the comments need to be submitted to Rumble exclusively to count. Now, I really don't have control as to which platform gets uploaded first. So you might want to follow, subscribe on every different platform. It may upload first on YouTube. So YouTube listeners may have a jump on Rumble. It may upload on podcast platforms first.
Yeah.
So you may have a jump, meaning once it posts on Rumble, you don't even need to watch the episode because you have the keyword to put in the comment.
Right. Boom.
So follow on everything. And this isn't by strategic design. I swear it's
not at all.
It literally just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this could be complicated if all these comments are on the different platforms.
Right.
Do they have unique timestamps?
Mm-hmm.
And can I ensure that the first one that actually comments gets the win, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to... Oh, I almost pushed the wrong freaking button.
That would have been hilarious, though.
Story of my life. So, as I like to call this amazing woman Atom Bomb, we just were communicating. And as we were communicating, I'm like, my gosh, you got a story. There's so much we could talk about, even as to like this podcast and your inputs. And so next thing you know, I'm challenging you. You're here, and I'm so excited.
Challenge was accepted and completed.
Thank you.
Yes.
So with that being said, man, without further ado, welcome.
Thank you.
And
thank you for having me in your home, in your second home, with your dog.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Moose loves the scratches and attention, especially from females. I think there's just too many.
Who doesn't love scratches and attention from females?
Oh, maybe it's the nails.
I don't have any nails.
Well,
you caught me on a bad day.
Female
Stop
connections.
pointing it out.
No, you're good. So you want to start off telling us a bit about yourself, like whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm Charmaine. A lot of people can't say my name. They mess it up. I've been called Charlemagne so many times.
Really?
So many times.
Okay.
And he's like some horrible king or something that I remember back in history. But everybody seems to just call me that. But I was born in New Mexico, raised here basically. I don't know. I used to be really sad, and now I'm trying to just be happy.
Yeah, that's an important thing to achieve. I mean, life is tough, undoubtedly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, to find a level of peace.
Yeah.
Right?
It's still a work in progress, you know. There's still days where I'm stuck still, and I can't get out of bed. I can't get in the shower. I can't brush my teeth. And it's to the point where it's like I don't feel worthy enough to take care of myself. I don't feel like, and there's never anything that causes it. It's not like a rhyme or reason or, oh, today I lost my job and now I'm really depressed because I just wake up and that's just it. That's just my day. And it's always been like that. Like since I was a kid, getting out of bed was always hard. And it still is, but it's easier now. Every other day.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have Lyme disease. No, it's crazy.
I know. Well, when you were describing, like when you were a kid and you were experiencing it, I was like, that was my mom. My mom was the one. Final warning. I had ice pitcher waters dumped on me because I wouldn't wake up. And like I even did marching band, and it was easier to stay up until 2, 3 in the morning, sleep for an hour, and then wake up and then go to school and go to marching band and do all
you
of
have
that.
other siblings?
Oh yeah.
So compared to your other siblings, was it kind of standoff like, or did you stand out with those kind of traits?
Yeah. None of my other siblings really had sleep problems. Maybe my little brother.
I mean, it was a lot of different other things too. It was like me lashing out. Like I felt early on had like the black sheep label because I would lash out, anger issues.
I've been black sheeped my whole life. So yeah, but my siblings are strange too because I've only have one biological sister. The rest of them are either a half brother, a half sister, or stepbrother, stepsister.
Well, I don't mean to scare you with the Lyme disease thing, to be honest.
I know.
But like the reality of it is like, okay, so let's check some boxes here with you. Is it, because it sounds like it's still kind of an ongoing thing, and it's ebbs and flows.
So
that resonates with me. So it's like, okay, so medically, clinically, is there anything that's affecting hormones or sugar levels, anything that, so let's eliminate that. Okay, because obviously we all know the emotional side of things and traumas and can have those type of impacts too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no one, and I think this is why a lot of people don't like diving into it, is so many things get labeled under like the psychological, like mental, right?
Yeah, but there's nothing
I truly, that's the thing. I think the mental is more so when you address the other things. I think it's more so rare that it's actually has anything to do with the mental stigma type of. I think that's what keeps people almost stuck in their thing, but. Anyway, that alone, it's usually these other things that attribute right to that.
Yeah.
So as far as psychiatrists, things like that, as much as I think they can do good for individuals, it's more, I think, more so a Band-Aid for a lot of people.
Yes. Quick fix solution.
It's not really getting to the root of what's going on.
Yeah, the actual issue.
Right. And there obviously could be a spiritual side of things too. I mean, for frick's sake, people, I guess, have like possession even, right?
Yes.
So to just kind of step back and with the intent of how can humanity, we as a community or unmuzzled group, or effectively support you,
everybody,
me, everybody, and help identifying these things so we can improve and get to the root of some of our issues and have a more peaceful, blissful, stabilized path.
It's just a smoother path to if it is spiritual, if it is psychological, if it is something biological that's going on with your body, whatever it is, there should be smoother processes to figure it out,
And no shame.
Yeah.
Right?
Just everybody's got a body.
You're a strong woman. Well, everyone, like, deals with those days, those moments, those struggles. Everyone does.
It could be 2 seconds and you're like, oh, that was a weird 2 seconds. Or it can be a little severe like me where I'll go months, I'll go years, just being that's the best way to describe it. It's just
right,
and I have support groups, or supportive people. I have my mom, I have my family, I have my best friend, and I have people who always tell me that they love me. They always tell me that I matter and I should be here. And even when I'm in those pits, it doesn't matter. Everybody could tell me everything that I need to hear, but something in my brain, I'm shaking everything, won't let me listen to it. There's something in there that's like, it's a lie. They're not telling the truth. Or even if it's my mom and I know she's telling me the truth, it's like, but it's your mom. Your mom's supposed to love you. And then it's an internal battle of so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. There was even recently a story where this gentleman, I was at an archery range, and this gentleman, and he was a well-learned doctor and naturopath, and I don't know. We got on the topic, call it divine, but we went from arching to being two men, and then what do you do? And anyway, it led to this man telling me the story, and it gave me goosebumps. It might give me goosebumps again, but he was like, I recently had this patient, because we were talking on like just all of our battles and health, pure health. And he ended up just feeling inspired to tell me this story, because so much of it isn't of this world as we understand it, and it is spiritual.
Yes.
And he was like, I recently had this patient that had this 180, and I've known him since he was a young man. And he's like a very handsome, well, I guess tall built Indian fella that lives out here in Apache Junction. And maybe due to the looks and getting wrapped into things, but slash getting wrapped up into the mortal existence and being all handsome, but more than that, like challenges he faced ended up putting him down a road I'm all too familiar with alcohol and things along those lines. And next thing you know, he ends up in that very tough moment where pulls out a revolver, puts it in his mouth, literally is ready to pull the trigger, when he was blessed with the veil, I guess, in this existence was lifted, where he could see the spiritual realm. And he literally saw the demon, like this evil entity. Everything he felt in that moment that was leading him to want to pull this trigger was right there telling him that he was no good, telling him all these lies and deceit and confusion. And right when he saw that, he started paying attention to this other beautiful figure. And I believe he mentioned a woman. And I don't even think it would have been an angel all dressed up like, just I vision just like you and I, and this
just
woman.
Beauty,
And he started gravitating towards that. So they kind of, this demonic figure started like fading away, and she came more present. As he was drawn to that. So he sets down the gun, and literally this angel, if you will, puts forth her hand and was just like, there's another path. It's your choice.
Go. We're not doing this.
It's your choice. And he's just like, whoa. And ever since then, supposedly he's been on fire for God, figuring things out in that sense. But to me, I don't know why that resonated. Just, I knew that was true. I knew it wasn't bull crap. I knew it wasn't being embellished upon. It was like, I just knew this happened. And it didn't have to happen to me. And maybe because I'm not even as strong as that man, meaning if I even saw that, now my mortal, let's say, flaws, futuristically, if I was given that clear of a gift, how much weight that now puts on your mortal shoulders. Right? So in a way, I'm kind of glad
that you haven't had it lifted that much.
Being gifted something so profound. Right.
That's a weird way to think about it too, though, is if you are shown that much of the veil, right? What does that do to your mortal soul? What does that do to your mortal perspective, or this perspective, right? Because if there is that veil that is lifted, there is that place. Right? So inevitably, maybe, there might be a time that you go visit said place. And it's like, well, your past you would have already known, so that's just a whole crazy thought process in and of itself. Isn't it?
But it's worth really doing that deep dive. And now it's like, oh my gosh, like, let's check out all these different religions. Let's check out the Bible itself. Let's spend the time on the knees in meditation and in the wilderness. And that's where I'm like, wow, this whole city living is relatively new, right, for humanity. And I don't think we've effectively even evolved. There's been too many negative influences that have even, I think, magnified like the toxicity of this type of lifestyle, more so than how we can more effectively support each other in a community. Like, I luckily know a lot of my neighbors, but a lot of people
Nobody gets to know their neighbors anymore.
Yeah, live there 5-10 years and they don't know a single neighbor by name. And I'm just like, what?
It doesn't make any sense, and your neighbors are the ones who, if you're gone, and like my parents' house caught on fire, and it wasn't even the house, it was the shed next to the house caught on fire. And because of that, my little brother and sister were home. My parents just went to the store or something real quick, 5 minutes down the road. The neighbors were next door, saw the smoke, and called the fire department. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have caught it. And it started to burn through the side of the house. Like they had
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was crazy. But your neighbors are kind of important for a couple things like that. If not just, hey, I need a light bulb, or, I used to just hang out and talk to my neighbors. And the first time I met them I was pulling weeds. And it was just me by myself. And my 70-year-old neighbor came over, and she's like, "Don't worry, honey, I got it." And she just starts pulling weeds with me. And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." And then another neighbor just comes out of the woodwork, and he brings like a hose, and he starts hosing down my yard. And he's like, "This will make it easier for you guys to pull it out." Another neighbor from like down the road comes out and brings out a tool. And when I tell you,
shout out to your neighbors.
Yes, shout out to my neighbors.
That's so
and they're
cool.
all like older. Like I'm 28, so
they lived in a different generation.
Yes. So to me, it caught me off guard, but I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever experienced. And now I know them by name. I know their dogs. I've been in their houses.
That's
like
cool.
They give me food.
Wow.
It's great. I love my neighbors, and I love my house. But this is honestly the first time I've ever had a solid home for more than a year, more than a couple months, really. So I've been at this house for 2 years now. Going on 3 in December. Super exciting.
That's awesome.
So, but otherwise, yeah, every year I was moving, was gone. It was here, it was there, this state, that state.
Wow, guys. A lot of things that we all could do better, right?
Much. Yeah.
And that's just the thing. I'm not a learned doctor. I only have my own experiences.
Right.
So as far as to get you anything clinical,
I
have resources and connections and recommendations, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So to like kind of dive maybe into some of the other things, like the emotional, the emotional side of things would be probably to dive a little into. I don't know if you want to share anything on your relational side of things.
What do you mean relational?
So whether it be boys, history, like even being brought up, like parent relations.
Man, we'll be here
like
all day. You want to talk about boys in my family?
Well, we can, we can dive in as much as you want, and we also could revisit even in more depth, like futuristically, because
you're close enough. I could roll down here.
Right.
We could chat it up a couple times. I mean, we have so many topics on that list to kind of just go through, and every single one of those topics is like a decent topic, Created
some pre-show notes because, what's really cool with Atom Bomb here and I, like, she just kept giving me feedback once she's like, "Oh yeah, cool, check it out," and then more than most, she's actually been like, "Holy smokes!" Like, give me all this amazing feedback, all like personal reaction to these episodes, and I'm just like, wow, we're kind of having the effect. Obviously more refinement needs to be had, but we're kind of hitting that nail on the head as to like, wow, like we want this is awesome, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And kind of a unique thing between our messages is, guys, my phone, I done broke my phone, like. And this is going to be a whole nother episode where we really dive into what is going on. And Verizon's currently sending me a whole new device, a whole new SIM card.
Whoa.
But
how did you break your phone that bad that Verizon is sending you a whole new
I'm
setup?
sure a lot of our listeners actually know. They're like, James randomly texts me after like 3 years of being, we go down our different paths. And next thing you know, he's kicking off this podcast. Well, yes, I've gone through the Rolodex and I started sending this out. Well, this isn't the first time I had.
Rolodex. Oh My Lord.
That I'm dating myself?
A little bit.
I suppose.
A little bit. There are so many generations who don't know what a Rolodex is.
My contact list, people. I was going through my contact list.
It used to be like this.
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So,
his phone's broken.
Yeah, I come to find out, for whatever reason, as it stands right now, because I have yet to get a explanation as to what's going on. My plan is unlimited text, calls, data, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm limited on my text. And I guess I've reached my limit, even though, holy smokes, I have over 3 hours of content I recorded yesterday. Call after call after call with Verizon Text. 3+ hours of footage.
Serious?
And I started editing that. I spent literally like 2 hours because I was like, oh wow, this is actually an important topic to dive into for me and see if other people are having this issue.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty unorthodox, especially for me, to be kind of going back to back on individual contact, sending a message. But in that personal sense, like going into that contact, text, send, next,
right,
send.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even everyone in that contact list. It was /selective. And I surprised myself with how many I actually was sending out to. But at one point or another, no indication on my end, it stopped going through. And to this day, I can no longer, like, actually, I could text you right now, like, hey, what's going on, in letters, and it won't go through. But I could do that voice clip,
and it'll send
through. So it's a different form of messaging, supposedly.
Yeah, that one that you did send me, it did go through. But I didn't hear anything back, so I was like, maybe he can't get them either.
Because once we got it sorted out briefly, I used, and it was by actually installing a whole different messaging app on my phone.
Really? Oh, that sucks.
Verizon's messaging app versus Samsung's messaging app. And it initially worked, and I was led to believe that this was a superior messaging app and that I shouldn't have this issue. Well, I used that, so I sent it to you, and it worked, but then I used that to finish my list, going through my list, and the same issue happened. So I don't know if they are censoring our speech and limiting our reach with our personal devices, but I tell you what, Unmuzzled Chat is on fire to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
And that's for future. We'll figure this out. But there's a silver lining and a blessing to this situation, to where I'm resorting with Atom Bomb here, literally talking into a clip, sending it. And it was so beautiful because, unlike a lot of other individuals, she actually responded in kind with a voice clip. Yeah. And it was so fun because I could hear your emotion. I could hear just this excitement. And then when you referenced like how it was impacting you and how you were relating with parental relations and upbringings and dating life and things of that nature, it was like, oh my gosh, you're gold. Not just for Unmuzzled, but like in the sense of what we're trying to achieve here.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And I think that stuck to me too, where even just watching him, and I was like, you know what? It's not just we're here to talk about XYZ and that's it. It's really just being for the people and about the people and about yourself, and I love it.
Wow.
So it's really cool.
Well, so it's interesting. We all know with text message, we're rolling the dice because there isn't emotion.
Right.
It's actually the worst, I feel, form of communication with another individual. Now, it's got its place in time where it's convenient and it's effective.
Yep. Businesses use texting now.
Right.
You know, oh, don't worry, we'll send you a text when your car is done.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't worry, we'll send you a text when this is ready.
So it's effective.
But we were saying earlier, it takes away from
human interaction,
from being a person and
Yes.
speaking to a person and hearing that person speak. And earlier I said that when you do talk to somebody so much, just hearing their voice and hearing how their mannerisms, how they speak or where they react to, like, my laugh is contagious or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
When you pay attention to that, even when they text you, if you know their voice so well, you'll be able to hear it through the text.
Right.
But if you start texting and you never have that communication built up auditorily,
yeah,
you know, it's gone. And then, like you said, you're playing that guessing game of,
right.
Are you being sarcastic? Are you being kind? You don't know what their intention is through the text.
And it was interesting. I mean, at times when I was like, oh, cool, I sent you a few in a row and you, boom, 4 back. It's like, holy smokes, I got to do things. And then wait, it triggered. I was like, wait, versus a long text. It was easier. This is more personable.
Yeah.
It's a far greater interaction than, I mean, at some point it's kind of like roll your eyes like, hey, we probably should just call each other at this point, right?
Yeah.
But no, it was really fun.
So.
Okay, perfect. So I was able to be like, oh, instead of reading and spending the time like straining my eyes reading that thing, I was able to just hit play, get on my feet, start doing things, and it actually became quite enjoyable and in that regard. And it was just like, holy smokes, like this is like text isn't capturing any of this like communication. So it just made me scratch my head like, my goodness, we could probably be cognizant and aware, bring some awareness to, wow, maybe challenge each other to like trying that little voice feature and such.
You were saying too that most people didn't even know that they could send a voice message
when I would do that
through text. And that's just wild to me. What do you think that microphone is there? If it can record your voice to type something for you, you think it can't record the entire message to send it?
People are like, well, what if I mess up? What if I mess up? And it's like, you know what? Then laugh at yourself.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to try this over. And even if...
That's the thing, too. I don't have that. I don't have the, what if I mess up? What if I sound stupid? What if I blah, 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 blah. I don't have that. I've always been that odd person, that weird person, that goofy person.
Awesome person.
Yeah, that awesome person. But, you know, I've always been that oddball that I've always had that weird look of attention on me. So whenever I am doing my thing, you know, I'll be walking around by work and I'll be singing and dancing and, you know, talking to myself just to help my brain function, you know, and, you know, I get looks, are you talking to yourself? Yeah. Why? I don't know. It just helps my brain work. Sometimes I need to auditorily hear it and then verbally say it in order for my brain to fully process the capacity of it all. So it's,
Deep.
Deep.
I like that. Well, my gosh, I guess it's like, who doesn't have some things to talk about their parents, or who doesn't have things to say about relations? So if we were to dive in on anything in particular, like I love Atom Bomb here is freaking, sorry to all those, like, I know I need to work on my curse words. I know I'm not perfect. I am a sinner because we have made a lot of connection towards God and whatnot. But I am a human. And apologies, I will forever be working on things. But with that being said, what would you call it? Advisory? Notice, explicit yes. I do say 4-letter words. And Atom Bomb here, for lack of better words, is a badass. And she likes 2 wheels, rode here on a motorcycle, and in fact, you ride dirt biking too, yeah?
I do, yeah.
You still have one?
I do, yeah, I have a YZ85.
Wow.
Yeah, she's cute.
Go hit the trails sometime.
I need riding buddies, but that's another thing in of itself, because being a female rider is so difficult. It is so difficult. You'll go to mechanics and you'll get screwed over by a mechanic. Or like one time I was trying to learn to be a mechanic on motorcycles, and I had a job at a place that was going to hire me to do the desk, was going to train me, let me use their tools, the whole 9. But the only reason they were going to let me do all that is because the owner was kind of creepy, kind of skeevy, which obviously I didn't end up taking that job because, you know, what kind of security is that? But, and then there's like, hey, when I was learning how to ride, just trying to find anybody to teach me anything was, hey, I'm just learning. I need somebody who can take me out and show me the ropes, show me,
well,
good,
really
bad
quick,
habits.
what's your style? Do you like single track?
I don't really ride the track. I desert ride.
Well, single track, like it
where it's
is
just
typically, well, there's specifically designated dirt bike track, meaning so it's not like a double track.
Right.
Where there's side by sides and the 4x4s are on.
I'll do both, but I don't typically like to be with 4x4 or
So
the sand cars and stuff.
Well, we'll invite you out. We'll invite you out.
I don't have a good enough scope to say I like this or I don't like this or I like that, because
just being out.
Yeah, I just want to be out, but I want to be out with good people.
We're gonna hit
it. Who aren't trying to do creepy skeevy stuff with me in the middle of the desert.
There we go.
That's it. So, and that has been the biggest struggle, is finding. And I went to the Babes Ride Out, which is an all girls.
Oh, that's really cool.
Motorcycle ride, and it was in Borrego Springs, California.
Okay.
Beautiful, and it not only was it just amazing to be with like-minded females, because I don't really get along with females. I try, but I don't know. It was just cool because they were supportive in the fact that they were like, yeah, you're really good, but you need to work on your throttle control. Or, you're doing really good. And the only we're going up a hill, and my gas can't tank. It's like all the gas is at the bottom of the tank, so it shuts off on me.
Oh, interesting.
And I have a bunch of girls who are kind of helping me get my bike to get back started. And then next thing you know, we're all getting dolled up in our dresses, putting on our boots and stuff and our pants and our jackets to go eat at a fancy restaurant. And then we all park our bikes, take off all our gear. Honestly, we probably could have not worn it, but we wanted to be safe. So we did. And just see a group of girls walking up, and
that's pretty
rad. It was rad. But
that is rad.
I also had to go to California for that. And the only way that I got there was because one of my old coworkers just so happened to have an extra ticket.
Wow.
So it was a really lucky experience, and I was so grateful for it. But at the same time, it's I'm riding alone, all the time. On the street, on the dirt, just...
Well, we really want to dive into, because I am a gearhead, and I love everything moto. And that's why we got a third mic sitting over here that I was doing some sound checks and things on just the other day, where we could have a few different riders and, just really dive into what we love. Yeah. And that's where I want to touch on with you. You shared with me personally on some of your darkest days and darkest moments, and it resonated with me. I don't even know if you want to talk on the depression side of things, as dark as it's gone. Because for me, in past times, that's part of what I even reference in these other episodes of Knocking on Death's Door, where I literally, there were multiple things that were, I see it like I was knocking on death's door, but one of those, and one of the most threatening at times, was suicidal thoughts. And when you mentioned, and you were vulnerable with me about even having intention of say getting on that bike, just wanting to end things, but by doing that, you're doing something that
love, joy,
and
what? I was just gonna interrupt you.
No.
It was
go.
It was the feeling of not being able to get out of bed, brush my teeth, take a shower, take care of my body, not feeling worthy. And then that's the depressive side of it, right? And then there's almost a sense of self-loathing that comes in, where that's where it's, all right, I'm done. Let me just, end it real quick. But at that point, I got on the bike, and with that intention, and then I'm on it, and then I no matter riding, I feel strong. I feel powerful. I feel confident. And I was in that point, and I was sad, and it sucked, and I was really not in a good mood. But after a few moments, it's oh, okay, I'm back up, and I can't even believe I was there 2 minutes ago.
It's weird. I don't even know how to put it into words personally, but it's there's been a handful of things in my darkest moments or hours that I would end up doing, and that being one of them. Just hopping on two wheels, even with the intent of in getting creative in my mind, oh, how could I launch this thing in an effective way off this freaking cliff?
Yeah.
But and never be found. kind of thing.
Right.
But in a sick, and this is the thing, I think if you take away the mental on those issues to where, hey, there's other things that are triggering these thoughts. There's other things that are dragging us down to this unstable place in this pit of despair with seemingly no way out. That, hey, if we actually get rid of the mental, we could talk about this more normally because a lot of people are there, and we can help bring, like, especially, I think, I don't want to say me, because like like you've kind of shared, you still have your ups and downs. Mine has been getting steadily out. Like I'm not fearing as gravely falling in that pit of despair, right? So to just help people understand, like, my goodness, there is hope. Okay. And you can fight through. But getting back to like the dirt bike specific, like even with those intents, like or intention of the worst case scenario, and God forbid, but as I'm doing it, I have almost a shift, whereas like, that shift happens where it's like, oh, I can't believe, I'm starting to think like, how was I even there? And it was a realization, okay, I enjoy doing this thing. So no matter what, in those moments, if this thing is worth living for to even do in a way. So it's like if this is all I have to do, like even full time to be here, then darn it, I could figure a way to just do this full time. And man, that's pretty important for anyone. That's like, there's so many analogies I've used throughout the years where I said I'm holding on by a thread. Like I'm literally, or I'm a sinking ship.
Hanging on by my fingernails,
Right. I'm clinging on by my fingernails, just like all sorts of different analogies. And in moments it seemed like some people were showing up there not to assist me up, but like literally making it harder to cling on, and it's just like, oh my gosh, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Like,
they're there almost to,
you could even have the right intention.
Yeah.
That individual could even have the right intention, but they're going about it in an ineffective way.
Yes.
Like, they're not listening and hearing and validating the situation in an effective way that's giving strength, that's actually lending down a rope or a firm grip.
Yeah. That's the hard thing too, is to be on that opposite side of the spectrum, is to be trying to help somebody out of that pit and to be giving your all, as what it seems, and it not being enough, not because you're not doing enough, but because it's just not what that person specifically needs. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, I think there's a humbling realization for those that want to help these individuals is you could potentially do everything right. You could potentially do everything, but the reality of it is not within your control. It's within the individual's control that's clinging on. So that's where it's so important for the person trying to help to really ask themselves, well, how can I effectively show up simply to show love and support? Just love and support. Even with a sound dampening headpiece, you're still somehow able to put out.
I told you, I'm loud. I warned you.
Just apologize to the listeners that just
I'm so sorry.
Their eardrums are bleeding. I'm just putting, that wasn't loud. No, you're good. I like that we could just poke fun like that. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Do you remember how we met?
So I was going to the dirt bike shop for a random part that they were no help. Well, because they got all the new bikes and this and that. Mine's on the older side. And what's silly that I found out on so many occasions when I go either Ride Now or AEO or, you name it, any of these cycle shops or bike shops, the majority of the parts are universal. So even though it's got that year on it, James, just be sure to bring in the part you're replacing, because you could say, I don't care, give me the latest of this part for that bike and put it on the countertop, and 99% of the time
they're gonna be,
it's gonna work. Right. I mean, there's quite a few things that
it might have a little update here or there,
that won't be
right.
universal.
Right.
But they like, it's weird. Some of these places almost give you two, like, we don't do anything with anything older than this. Like, as if though, like, I'm a nuisance to them.
No, I think a lot of companies don't want to take the risk. And when it comes, because I know this from like automotive and motorcycle mechanics, where they would love to work on an old school project or whatever, but they can't, or if they break one little thing, the amount of time and money it'll take to replace that thing, you know, it adds to it so much more. Like, oh, you have an older vehicle, it might just be rusty, it could have been horribly maintained, maybe some Billy Bob just worked on it and just wrecked it left and right, you know, whatever it may be, that mechanic at that point is responsible for whatever happens. So let's say you're just doing an oil change, right? And something completely falls apart.
Yeah. Well, I typically wrench on my own bikes. I don't trust others, really.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously save some bucks doing it. And then plus you get intimate with your machine.
Heck
you know?
Yeah. You learn the way that your machine feels.
Right.
Like, really, truly feels. And there is absolutely nothing like getting back on a bike after you worked on it.
Yeah, 100%. Right?
Yes.
And when you were effective with your work.
Yes. It's a little scary when you're like, oh, that did not work out very well, did it?
Right.
But,
well, as I recall, it was like I was just walking across the showroom for something. We bumped into each other, and I was just like, we were just chatting. And it became clear, like, you were a rider as well. And it was like, holy smoke. Like, I just have mad respect for females that can actually ride.
Yeah.
You know, not to say, like, I mean, I'll be honest, there's some freaking women out there that can shred on me.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, there's a lot of gals,
You sound so sad about that. Why?
No, it's awesome. It's actually awesome. Mad respect.
Yeah.
Mad respect. Well, I guess I've also taught or tried to teach a lot of like ex-girlfriends or something like that to ride that had interest.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how, I guess, just between the sexes, how more men have been gravitating towards that, and girls doing more so, I don't know, lack of better words, girly things or other things, right? Other things.
There you go.
What?
Girly things.
I don't know. Guy stuff, girl stuff.
It was just funny to see you fumble for the proper word, that's all.
I have sisters that ride horses and do all these things that, like, man, I can't represent on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's just interesting. Like, city girls, right?
Yeah. It's just crazy how different
it's a fun thing to do.
Male and females are, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You hear that? There's a difference between male and female.
Oh, gosh.
And there's only male and female. We're going to go really down that road on Unmuzzled and do deep dives on like this really dangerous, toxic like ideologies and things like that.
There are so many things. We could talk again forever about that. And I'm sure you're going to, like you said, you're going to deep dive on it. So we'll pin it.
100%. Well, it's still fun to just kind of plug it. Teasers. But yeah, it was just way cool and mad respect. And it's like, we got a good motorcycle crew. So it was like, man, it would be cool to have you join. And I effectively dropped the ball in my own illnesses and my own life consuming stuff.
It didn't necessarily, you didn't necessarily
but we're
drop
still
the
here.
ball. Yeah, there you go. It was just.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. There's still things. You sold your bike.
Oh, the street one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We got the dirt bikes. It's fine.
Yep.
There we
still
go.
do the dirt riding. Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be fun. It's been a while since I've gotten to play in the dirt.
I could maybe borrow a street one. I know a few people.
Oh.
No, it is interesting. Guys, get off your phones on the road and pay attention to the two-wheel freaking riders out there. My gosh.
You do not have to be that close to me at a light.
Yes.
Thank you. Give me the same space as a car.
Yes.
Just because I'm on a bike doesn't mean you have to be 2 inches away from me. Thank
you. Well,
there's so many people.
Because someone, even if someone wasn't paying attention and they bumped into the back of your car and you're freaking 2 inches or even a foot or 3 feet, 3 feet's too, you need a full car length when you stop.
Yeah.
And if someone just even clipped your rear quarter panel, now it's throwing you into literally a person.
Yeah.
A person.
Yeah.
Just standing there, sitting there, squatting.
Half standing.
Half
I don't
standing.
know. Right? What
are your thoughts?
What would it be? Yeah. What would that be considered?
But, gosh, yeah, that's what stole the love for me on street riding. I still love street riding. I'm a cruiser guy. You got yourself what do they call it? A cafe racer.
Yeah.
Thing's freaking sweet.
Susie Q.
Susie Q. That's cool. But it stole that love where it more so transitioned into the dirt riding because it became more so a non-issue. I mean, there's all those razors, this and that. That's why we tend to find single tracks.
Yeah.
Where they're designated dirt biking.
Yeah.
And they get uniquely challenging and fun. But
I picked up a nice trail book that
cool.
goes over all the trails in
you
Arizona.
Got some fun ones that we could
but it tells you if it's
out.
For like Jeeps or like sand cars or for dirt bikes and stuff like that. So it's really cool. And then it tells you like the hardness, like the level, the riding level. It's really cool. I would like to put it to use someday.
Well, 'tis the season. Tis the season for Arizonians. My goodness, it's just too hot down here in the summer. But you can do trips up north, right? The heat trips during the summertime, which is quite refreshing.
Arizona is actually a really good place to be.
It is.
Just for that.
I mean, there's pros and cons
anywhere. Disasters. It's hot, but drink some water.
Pros and cons anywhere. But I don't want to give, because if we end up all international and we end up, say, national, we don't want to give away all the Arizona secrets and have too many extra
Stay out of our Arizona desert.
blue voters here. No, literally. And they would have us believe we're purple or blue now. Gosh. We are red. We are blood red Arizonians, and we know that. And we just need to let our voices be heard and not tolerate shenanigans at these voting centers, drop boxes, what have you. Like, are you kidding me? Let's all show up. We all need to do our part and stop evil in this world. Now, there's evil on all ends. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but we can all move the needle in the right direction. We're going to friggin' make that happen.
We're making tracks, that's for sure. There we go.
So, there's some of that. All right, I'm just going to check our notes. I'm going to see what we skipped over. I think we've done pretty good here, to be honest. Yeah.
A lot of these topics, too, I swear I could talk to you for hours.
Right, yeah. We're just scratching the surface. I mean, with you, the main thing that resonated, that I was like, because I wasn't that long ago, I was there literally coming up with creative ways to end my life.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. Where body won't be found, truck or things will, so okay, family is going to be notified, and it's crazy. People that's very selfish and spread all this judgment. Okay,
that is,
guys, stop judging. Okay, like if you are not in that place, just thank God you're not. Okay, you got to understand these people aren't. This is something I wouldn't wish on anybody, to be at that place of despair. And we got to be able, by spreading that judgment, is that more inviting to people sharing their stories, or is that closing them off?
Exactly.
So what would you rather have? An opportunity to speak to them, or, oh, now it's too late and you're just gonna be like, I was so selfish.
Yeah. Like, that is my least favorite thing to hear.
Right.
Excuse me, is somebody calling me selfish, especially when I feel I trust you enough to vocalize those feelings to you. Right. And that's one of the hardest things, especially for my mom, is my mom is the only person I can really, truly show that real, raw emotion about it. And I feel terrible because I don't want to worry her. Right. You know, I love my mom. I don't want to worry my mom. And her simply hearing her daughter have these feelings and have these thoughts. And even though she knows I'm just expressing it in a way that I need to express it in order to process it and move forward, it still worries her. It still
in a way,
puts
you're
her
playing for your own life.
Yeah.
Your help, help.
Yeah.
But for a mom, obviously, that could be hard.
Yeah.
And you can acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Like, it could be hard, and the last thing they want to hear this or that. But the parent may be too effectively trapped, for lack of better words, to really effectively help, or no paths. That's where it's like, man, let's start focusing on like nutritional, fitness,
absolutely,
emotional. Start addressing traumas, and that's where we all could look inwardly. Like, the parent at that point could even just like rule themselves out as a toxicity by holding themselves, reflecting back, holding themselves accountable for every role that they took, that they played in that individual's life.
Right.
The more we can have like accountability versus pointing the finger, because pointing the finger, what's that doing? Right. That's boosting, saving your pride and your ego. Like, that's not actually moving the needle in the right direction on refinement and growth and helping that individual.
Right. Or helping the situation better in any way, shape, or form.
Because the reality of it is we all could have done something better. Yeah. Every party involved in every situation at any freaking moment.
Exactly. I think a big part of why we're here, is Earth is a school, and we're here to learn.
Yes.
And the pure fact that a lot of people carry themselves as if they know everything. And not just in the normal human sense,
the know-it-all syndrome.
Like in their body.
Oof.
In their soul and in their being. That is how they are. Like, they're not only completely knowledgeable here in this realm, but in every realm thereafter.
Oh my gosh.
And those are the ones who are in the earlier stages of school, right? And
yes,
you're choosing your path before you get here. You're choosing your classes. But it's not like, when you take a math class, do you know math? No. You have to sit there and learn it and study it and take a test and fail a test and try again and do it again.
Right.
And then at the end, you graduate. But you're not just graduating learning math. You're graduating every other curriculum that you took in that school. Does that make sense? So if you take this earth or life as a school, what are you here to learn?
You just took me to school in a way that was more effective than my schooling growing up.
What do you mean?
You just captured. Ooh, and I'm human. I don't even know if I can do it justice as to what do you mean. Like, you just so eloquently, like, eloquent. Now I'm gonna
both
mess
work.
it up.
Both work. I think.
I don't know if I was saying it right.
Eloquently.
You said it so well.
Thank you.
That it was educational for me, and like grasping in a way what we're trying to effectively do and instill with our education programs, but in a bigger, broader sense. Like, I think you kind of hit a nail on the head to an extent as to why we're even here. The education, like, even bigger than what we've structurally captured with our education school. Man, I can't even.
We're
I can't even make sense of it.
You were there.
Okay.
You were there. You're thinking too deeply on yourself.
My brain hurts. My gosh.
I'm so sorry, but I have to adjust.
No, get comfortable. Whatever you got to do.
I can't reach the ground now.
You could lower that too, if you wanted. Oh, there you go. Is that better?
No, that's too low.
Is
now
it?
You're letting me do too much work.
No, you're good. You're gonna give me a moment just to make sure on some of these. Do you know how to raise it?
I can actually reach the ground now, though.
Okay.
Instead of, am I in the frame? Good. Okay. I look so pale.
This view isn't gonna be, and this lighting isn't great, and that camera is not the greatest, but
we're working with what we got.
Yes, we are. So, I mean, I really could dive in and just go all day on depression, trying to give light to those that are there, right? And I'm going to join you.
Do you feel less?
More eye to eye,
You get eye level with me.
Yes, ma'am.
That's going to be really hard.
This is fun.
I'm short. Should I sit up taller?
No, you're good. I mean, it's it shouldn't be demonized. We should be able to feel comfortable talking about these things. I think the ones that actually say, "Oh, I've never had a day like that in my life." Okay, maybe 1 in 10 billion. Okay.
Right.
I think the reality, we all at one point or another in our development have a legitimate thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Just it's the real men and women that are willing to actually acknowledge it and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, what have been some of, say, your toolboxes? Let's open your toolbox. What have been effective things that have helped you get through your darkest moments personally?
Lots.
Yeah.
I try to learn as much as I can for as long as I can. So if I'm watching a documentary I'm just interested in, I'll take notes. But like I'll pause
so
it
you're
and
intentional.
I'm intentionally learning and taking notes, right? I'm purposefully focusing all of my energy onto this. Or I'll go paint, I'll go draw, I crochet, I sew, I'll learn a new craft, I'll go take my bike out, I'll walk my dog, I'll journal. I have so many different things. It's really occupying your mind but not allowing yourself to feel the feelings. You still have to feel every ounce of the sadness and every ounce of the self-loathing. You have to be in that moment, but you have to sit there and you have to analyze it and you have to be, why am I feeling
acknowledging
this? What made me feel this
triggers.
way? Yes. Is it, and because I'm feeling this way, what is that doing to my mentality? Okay, well, I'm in this deep, dark room now because I don't even know. And then I sit there and I'm like, well, nothing triggered me. I was literally doing the same thing I've been doing for days, for weeks, whatever. There wasn't a trigger specifically to whatever. But it's really, honestly, the best thing is when you feel that moment, when you're in that depression, when you're in that anger or whatever, it's analyzing it. It's sitting with it and thinking about it.
Acknowledging that you're there, and then actually looking inwardly and doing that self deep dive.
Yeah.
Trying to find out the source. Whether it is a past trauma, a childhood experience. It's actually interesting how much in our adulthood as these incredible beings, how that potential defective wiring and this and that, and actually going back to these things, and you could go back to that same situation, start playing it out and feeling and acknowledging. You could literally, there's all these meditations and practices you could do of like cradling that younger self and telling them like everything's okay and give them the validation. There's all these, isn't it?
I do that all the I will be bawling.
It's powerful.
Hugging myself. And like I said, I'm in those moments where those days are just so hard, and they're getting a lot better. Just like you said, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, where I know I'm getting better. I've seen my progress. I have people who see my progress and point it out to me, and they're like, no,
I felt it right when you arrived. Your energy, everything. It was just hug moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but that was it. It was sitting with it, and I'm still doing that. And even recently, like
it's forever work.
Yes, forever.
It's just like the gym.
Yeah. Don't want to do it, but once it's done and you have the aftermath, you have the product of the work. It's sweet.
I think so what you're touching on is going to resonate with so many people and help so many people. Are you kidding me?
But like you said, it's so many people feel this and nobody talks about it.
Right.
And I think it's a little weird that you're like, good on you for talking about it, because I've always talked about it. I've never had an issue with it. I've never hidden the fact. Because
people bottle that stuff up to their own detriment.
On my sleeve, okay. I really do, and it's bad. It gets me in trouble because when I'm mad or I'm throwing attitude, but you typically see this face, the happy face, and not the attitude face. So that's good.
Well, forcing a happy face can be beneficial because just by forcing a smile can internally have a good impact.
You release endorphins.
However, if you're, like for an individual, if they're just forcing it and sweeping their real feelings under the rug, that's why it's so important to be intentional, acknowledging, doing the self-work, doing those deep dives, because the reality of that situation, you can effectively knock out a trigger that's based on, say, a childhood memory of either bullying in school or something that you could effectively walk through that, validate your younger self in that, go through that, weep it out, cry it out, and I've been there too as a man.
What you needed to hear,
and you could start to shift the whole memory, where instead of it now being this trauma, you can now express gratitude to that younger individual, like, I'm so grateful this happened to me.
Yes.
Thank you for being strong enough to your younger self to making it through, because now I am a stronger person because of it.
Yeah.
Like, it actually brings now more light to your good days because that was so dark.
Yes.
So there's a silver lining now where all of a sudden you just effectively dealt with that trauma. I feel like Dr. Phil, unmuzzled psychology. No. I'm literally just speaking from the heart. I don't want any type of accolades. This is just literally real raw
conversation
that I feel to be true and effective. And it is interesting because you can do all these type of things in everyone's toolbox, certain tools for certain people, because everyone's bike, right? Who I love, like bike analogies. Everyone's bike's a little different. Yours might use more Allen key tools and mine might be more freaking wrenches, right?
Right.
So the wrenches for me might be more effective. So who's to say these type of things might be more effective than, because I mean, this moved the needle in the right direction for me, but it was my spiritual journey that gifted me all this healing in those other areas too. But then again, that's just a different wrench. Maybe that isn't as effective in.
I think it's as effective, just in a different parallel. Does that make sense? So, I'm, like I said, I'm spiritual, but I don't subscribe to a specific religion. I believe like the truths in everything. But
I like that.
I love again just learning. That is something I want to do the rest of my life forever. Is just learn as much as I can.
Yes.
Before I can't remember anything anymore. Before I can't learn anything anymore. And it's a scary thought to think that, oh my God, I'm going to be old one day. Because there were so many years where I was like, you know what? I only want to live till 23. And I planned throughout my teenage years, I planned on not making it past 18. And then when I made it to 18, I was like, I guess I could go to 21. And then I made it to 21. And then I was like, well, my favorite number's 23.
You just resonated with me on a level. Like, I worded it different. I felt like I was in extreme sports and too reckless. I was like, I'd be lucky.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd be lucky to live past this date because I'm freaking crazy.
Right.
But it was just a different way of wording, but we're capturing the same essence. What is happening right now? We are two peas in a pod. Holy smokes.
Right. It's weird though, because now I'm 28 and I'm 28. Like, I might get old. But now it's no more of I want to end it, or I guess I'll make it to here. It's, let's see how far we can take this. How many levels can I level up,
Right.
So
right.
that's where I'm trying to do right now.
I love where you're at. And I see a light in you now that's entirely different than where you were before. I'm just so
that's what I was gonna say
excited to see where
Thank
you're
you for
going.
reminding me.
All right,
when you met me, when we first met, that was fixing my boots. That was if not one of the lowest points I've had within these past 5 years. Like, that was, I was
got pretty low too.
I was drinking heavily. I was smoking heavily. I was going to the strip clubs. I was hanging out with I was hanging out with just bad people doing stupid stuff. And
you end up so internally sick that you seek out substances in certain environments to where it's just like, well, whatever is gonna, but we really don't realize that path is to our own detriment. It's not leading to healing. It's not leading to facing your issues. Right.
Every weekend. And I was blowing through my money. I was making good money.
Wow.
I was making really good money. And I wouldn't even be able to make it to the next paycheck because I was just spending it. And those were my new self-harms. You know, because I had the whole hurting myself by myself, you know. And then as I got older, it's a little harder to do that and hide it and not actually go the full depth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, it's harder to stop yourself when you're a little older and, you know, kind of sadder and angrier and whatever. So I stopped doing it in that way, but I would harm myself in other ways. Like, I would harm myself by drinking and smoking and going out and doing crazy things.
Right.
And I would harm myself by dating the men that I dated because they were mean to me. They were crazy or abusive or, you know, that was another version of self-harm. Like, I felt like I didn't deserve a good person. Or the level of person that was like, oh my God, they're so great was actually so low. But I was so messed up here that I thought that was great. And I thought that this was the best person ever. And even to this day that's a problem. That's why I'm not allowed to date right now on my own. Like, I've told myself I don't want to date. I've been working so hard on bettering myself and becoming the best me that I could be. And just healing myself, you know. And the last relationship I had was just it was the second worst. But yeah, I was just like, I'm done. I'm done.
Wow.
Let me just be me.
There's so much power, strength, clarity, even wisdom to everything you just shared right there. And vulnerability. I mean, all the things. All the things.
Yeah, man.
And
life's a trip.
It really is.
And my story isn't even the worst or even close to the worst or the best or whatever, you know.
It's not a competition.
Exactly. It's my story. And that's why I think people are so worried about saying their story because they're worried about, oh, well, someone's got it worse.
Judgment.
Somebody's got it better. I could always be worse off. I could always be happier.
See, I don't like that people project that saying. The only time that saying is relevant when an individual can acknowledge that.
Yeah.
That's the only time. So if someone's in a hard time and you want to throw that at them and point it out, you just magnified their own personal issues.
Yeah. And then you isolated them.
Yeah.
You made them feel like
it's showing you don't have the patience to show up for that individual. You don't have the love.
You don't care.
You don't care enough. Yeah. Like you're essentially just ruling off like, hey, come on, look at that guy with no legs.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, yeah, that does suck. You're just literally, all right, well, I might as well just freaking end it because it's like, that's how low I already am.
Right.
And you're just, you're not helping people and your intention could be pure by why you want to point that out. Like there are greater issues. It's like, duh, we all know that.
Right.
At least you live in America. It's just like, wow.
Right. There's a way to do it kindly and with love. It's all about, I'm a firm believer on intent. Like you can say the same exact sentence, but it's how you carry your voice. It is your intention when you're speaking it. And a lot of people will be like, well, they just said blank. I'm like, yeah, but it was his tone. It was his conviction. It was how he was carrying himself. It was how he looked at me. It was...
Right.
And because I grew up in the childhood that I did, we might have to pin that because that'll be a long conversation.
Okay.
Because of that,
okay.
I've had to learn to read people without them realizing that I'm reading them and to really truly understand the inner workings of their mind. And like the smallest things, like
to be aware.
Like your eyes are dilating, your eyebrows raised, your nostrils flared, your lip twitched, you're tapping your foot, you're looking to the left, to the right, up and down. Like those are the things that I started to notice as a kid, and I didn't even realize that I was reading people until I grew up, and I started to just really like learn about psychology and learn about it's not like mind readers, but like mentalists, where that's literally what they do. It's like, it's crazy. They just read people and they're
Crazy
like, oh,
cool.
you were here and you did this. Like,
wow.
You can tell like physical things, like, oh, you sleep with your mouth open because your front teeth are fading. Like crazy things like that, if you just pay attention and you connect the dots. And it's a scary thought.
Wow, you're covering so much. So just to recap, like acknowledging, doing the deep dives, there's tons of different practices we're not even touching on. You know, and so many tools from churches, from AA groups. Holy smokes. I love AA.
I need a sponsor just so somebody can get me out of my depression loop.
To walk through, to help identify the character defects.
Just come to my house. I'll give you the key. Just come in my room and say, get up.
Yeah.
Get out of the shower. Okay, I'll do it. But when it's just me in my headspace, I don't care. You know?
Well, so the thing is, when I can't even describe it. When you, and I think we all are capable, but the thing is, you got to address certain things. If there's a thing health-wise it's limiting, we got to address that enough, so it's kind of all-encompassing to do all this deep dive. But everyone, I really truly feel, does have the opportunity. And the thing is, if you don't have the means and the funds, you can be vulnerable to certain people out there that will go to the lengths. And I can shout out and plug my siblings, individuals that even triggered my siblings to start taking action. You know, so to really do that plea, there's so you could have the finances to take health steps. Or there's just, I mean, that's what we're about here on Unmuzzled too. I mean, we don't have, I mean, the budget really isn't existent yet, but it would be awesome to get to that point where we could actually financially support people, but we could help kick things off. We could be a platform and a voice. But just anyone in that despair, like there's just more that can be done. But how cool, because I can basically testify, like they're being on the other side of things, like it's so amazing to not get to a place to not even need that other individual, because you actually now enjoy life enough and are excited enough that you can't wait to get through the shower. It's just like you actually view sleep for the, oh my gosh, like what an eye-opening moment even right now, where sleep, I couldn't get enough of it, and I was lethargic and I was tired, and for all my life and now I'm viewing it as like, do I have to? But you have to function. You have to function, get to a, you know, so you can be most effective. But it I mean, there was in the daily devotional that I read today, it was like, it highlighted a truth that 1/3 of our lives are literally pretty much wasted, but not wasted because we all need it, sleeping. And I was just like, man, to have maximum impact, like so how do people go from that depressive to essentially now being on fire for life? Like, and everyone's road, everyone's bike looks different. So let's get the tools. Let's try to identify the tools for people to start wrenching to where they could ride that thing and enjoy that thing.
And we're all riding together on this glorious road of life. Happy in the breeze. Be fantastic.
I hope in some way or another that this resonates enough with you to where it's like, you know what? There's more I could be doing to improve these things.
Absolutely.
I can improve what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, what I'm digesting emotionally, mentally, by who I'm with. All these things matter.
Those old school, cheesy, cliche sayings are the truest things in the world. Treat people how you want to be treated. Right? I literally just had it escape me. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tired.
You're okay. Oh, yeah, by the way, Atom Bomb here does the graveyard. And when I challenged her and she arrived here, I was like, don't tell me you'd be sleeping right now if I didn't challenge you. She's like, yeah. So now I feel guilty. but that
goes
to show where you're at and who you are and how on fire you are for yourself, but also to help others.
I'm trying, man.
You're doing
I'm
fantastic.
Trying. Thank you. I like to think so too, but it's nice to hear it every now and then.
So some of the things, and we can touch on it real quick. I know we need to get you to bed, and we're already an hour and 15 minutes. How cool is that?
Wow. I expected so. I told you I talk a lot.
Well, so arts and crafts, like those, that was kind of an escape for you. So basically it's highlighting like do things you find positively, not distracting, you genuinely enjoy doing.
Yes. And yes. Well, do things you find you genuinely fun, but do things to challenge yourself. A lot of it was me just wanting to learn it. And I forgot I brought you a gift.
What?
It was a lot of it was me just trying to learn it. Like I want to see if I can learn to sew, or like during the pandemic, right? I learned how to crochet when I was like 10.
Get out. That's cool.
Well, my stepmom showed me a single stitch, and that's the only thing that I learned. And during the pandemic, I hadn't touched crocheting really much since. I just pulled it up and I redid it, and I was like, oh, cool. Wow. And I was like, well, I'm going to be here for months. Let's make a blanket, right? Failed completely in so many different ways. But the fact that it was something I wanted to just try to see if I could still do, and then I gave myself a challenge, and I took it head on, and I failed, and that was fun. And like genuinely fun. And I was like, wow, that was kind of interesting. And then from there I was like, okay, this is where I can get better. And then now I'm so excited to actually do the blanket that I planned.
Heck yeah.
Way better, but I put it off because I'm making a different blanket.
Way cool. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, hands-on. I love that. Like, it was interesting. There was in some of my dark, and there's so many sayings, and now I'm like, these sayings don't resonate as much as biblical verses, so it's crazy how things shift.
Yeah.
But things got so dark that with these random self-help books, and I think this was one by like Mark Manson or something, but it was just simple, like action isn't just the effect of motivation. Yeah. It is also the cause of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh wow, like I'm not feeling motivated for anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. Well, action isn't just the cause, but also the effect.
Yeah.
Am I even saying those? Am I switching those backwards? Like, but so just basically getting off my butt.
Yeah.
Going for a walk, one step in front of the other, just a simple walk.
Right.
And I went from a woe is me, I went from and everyone should be able to do that. If you can't walk, you go take your wheelchair out. Yeah. You know, if you can't wheelchair,
sit in the
like
breeze in the sunlight.
If you're bedridden, tune into that Audible book.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always just one a step of action we can take in those moments that can lead, and I'm saying like the whole acknowledgement and all that is only going to go so far. You know, the point is just downward spiraling, just take action.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm so sorry, but it's like doing the laundry and then having it sit in the bin, right? It's clean, but it's in the bin.
Ooh.
Right? If you just tell yourself, okay, I'll just put one sock away. Oh, okay. For me, I don't know about anybody else. I'm like,
cool.
Well, I put one away. I might as well do all the socks, right? And the next thing you know, I'm like,
feel good.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's taking me 2 seconds to do the socks. Okay, let me do the shorts. Whatever, cool. I'll just do the rest. And then, but in order for that to happen to me, I have to set the teeniest, tiniest, most achievable goal of just putting one sock away.
Yeah.
And then from there, like you said, motivation can cause action, and action can cause motivation. It's
perfect.
Yeah. You know, it's a tit for tat. You know.
Yes.
Small goals, man. If you can't deal with the month to come, the year to come, the 5 years to come, deal with the day. Deal with the hour.
The moment.
Yes.
Seconds.
Exactly.
Seconds.
I tell everybody all the time, like, hey man, you're having a bad hour. That's it. Give it a few minutes. Give it a little bit. Because I think you can't be sad for more than 15 minutes. Like, your brain will not allow you. Like, truly sad. Like, where the chemicals are flowing through your body. Like, there's depression, but it's your I don't know how to describe
I could
but
genuinely say I was at a place of hell, not just for 15 minutes, day, hour after hour, day after day, month after month.
Right.
But that's also the disease that it wasn't even allowing my body to create dopamine or serotonin.
Exactly. There was no recovery.
Yes.
That's where it's like you have to allow yourself, your body, to get out of that mode. It's almost a fight or flight.
Yes.
Right? It's what is depression if you think of it as an instinctive emotion? What would it have been to, right? Some kind of instinctive thing. Fight or flight is like if you can't get out of that survival mode because you're surviving.
Deep breaths.
You know.
That even feels right now.
It does.
Always does. I think I'm just naturally like the shallow breather. I need to every now and then, right?
Just remind yourself.
Just feels good. I mean, the other day I did 2 deep ones, and if I was on my feet, I probably would have dropped on my face. Like, you gotta be careful.
You got too much oxygen.
Right.
Yeah.
I think even some of these other ones are like that one. Just skip about. I don't know if you personally. Yeah, you mentioned that you have helped people in your life. Is now you've become more open.
Yeah.
But it was interesting how you're like it's like you are all about helping others even though you're in a certain way. And you talk about some opportunities for other individuals, and it actually resonates. It lands and it helps. They identify it, acknowledge it, and improve that in their lives. But by acknowledging it in a way is like they start drifting away from.
So it's basically like I come into people's lives and I make them realize things about themselves. And it's not like I'm telling them or I'm forcing their hand or I'm pointing out things or I'm just being. And because I am being in my ways and because I am just constantly trying to be the best me that I can be, whatever that means for myself. Whether that's, what, I didn't do anything today. I did have a bad day. But you know what? I'm okay. I'm allowed to have a bad day. People have bad days. It's if I get stuck and that one day becomes 2 days and that 2 days becomes a week. And that's where I get stuck in the loop. But when I make people realize those things, it's something as simple as that. Like Charmaine is this low. And even though she is that low, she's still trying. She's still kicking. Like, why? Why is she kicking? I would have gave up. Well, why would I have given up? And then they internally think themselves, and then they kind of realize that, they are stronger than they think they are. And because they realize that strength, they become their truest self, in a sense, and start growing into themselves. And because they're growing into their truest selves, they outgrow me. But it's not, I'm better than you, I'm better than this. It's, I've learned my lessons. And this is a past me that it's not bad. I'm not getting rid of. I'm not going to forget you. But in order for me to grow, I need to go. And that sucks a lot for me because a lot of the people that I meet and I connect really well with that aspect, they leave. Because they're growing in their own and I am too. But it's like, my friends, I miss you. But I like to
Don't be disheartened.
It's good. I'm not disheartened. It's good. I would much rather them leave and be the best them that they could be because that's all I want for myself. I just miss them. Right. And I miss, it's hard being this lonely. Like, it's hard.
Oh my gosh.
But
well, that's just it. I truly feel the more we do those deep dives, we actually learn, grow, break out of our shells, and it's just a moment in time of loneliness where Unmuzzled has your back. I hope this fires up a whole community response to an extent you aren't feeling alone. Guys, can't you just feel the level of importance, like what we're trying to do here on Unmuzzled, how important it is for you in a selfless way to follow, to share, to throw this on your social medias so we can effectively have a community here for Charmaine?
Aw.
And
like for you.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. We just need to unite across the board as God's children, as I see it. But it's okay if you don't see it that way.
Right.
Just as human beings in this crazy mortal existence we call life.
Yes.
Like, we can do better. We can be more kind and supportive and vulnerable, right? Like,
I think the best thing is everybody's your sister, everybody's your brother, your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle. If they were your kin, you wouldn't let little things happen to them, or something as simple as like kids falling and skidding their knee. If that's your brother, your son, you're going to be a little bit more concerned than a random kid across the street.
Right.
But at that same caliber, my kids, your kids, our kids, like community.
See, and that's why I love so much, because evil's effectively creating all this division amongst us. Like that, it is the root of evil.
Yeah.
And that's where I only want to give like attention to, say, the racial topics, to give a bigger view on the racial topics, that we need to stop talking about it.
Right.
What does it matter, the skin pigmentation? Because we're all humans.
Right.
We're all children of God, as I see it. And we need to jump off all of these polarized, divisive, confusing topics in this life to where we can more effectively get to this.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could sit down and talk to everybody for hours. And it's crazy because I'm in retail right now, and the small bit, I'm a manager, but the small times that I am at the register, like, I notice people are like lingering. Their transaction's completed, but they're still just slowly walking out the door, turning back and talking to me. And we're not talking about anything, besides like what they're doing for the day, where they came in,
You are such a beautiful soul. Charmaine, how can I show up for you? How can I help with where you're at right now? Stickers are freaking awesome.
Kind of stickers. So as you've seen my helmet, I love sticker bombing things.
Awesome.
But as many other people, I don't like getting rid of my sticker bombed stuff. I like my stickers. I love my stickers. So another random craft I did is I made them into magnets.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I packed a few because I wasn't sure if you would like it or not. But so you can pick, or you can have them all.
No, I'll pick.
No, have them all, because I literally, my entire fridge is full.
These are so cool. Can I show them a bit?
Yeah.
What?
Thank you for having me on your show.
Every one of these?
Yeah. They're stickers though, so I didn't make the stickers. Don't get that
sticker on a magnet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we got a skeleton bones rider here, dirt biking. Oh man, this light really fades that out. Man, that's so cool. Express metal. Oh man, another born and bred to rip and shred. That one's really cool. Oh my gosh, that guy's really cool too.
Catfish Co.
Catfish what?
Catfish Co. I don't know what it is. Sometimes people just give me stickers to make stuff out of.
Well, dude's riding a fish.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a lure.
Isn't it cool?
Oh, so it's got to be some fishing.
It's like fish, tackle box, mailbox
and then
thing.
That's actually the police, right?
Mm-hmm.
Flag, American flag with the blue stripe.
Yeah.
That is so cool. You know what?
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of stickers too.
Yeah. You want me to make them into magnets?
Well, I'm going to let you choose a handful. Okay. So you could do, oh my gosh.
They're all yours. I picked all of those specifically for you.
No way.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, this would be really cool, and I will pay you back with twice as many.
Don't pay me.
Well,
that is a gift.
It's exchanging.
No, that's a gift.
This is really cool.
You cannot pay for a gift.
Well,
you have to gift me something.
I'm going to have to put for having me on the show what you just said to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, what could our community do for you? For those listening?
Be nicer to each other. It sounds so small and trivial, but treat everybody like your grandma, treat everybody like your sister who's sick, your mom who needs help, your dad who just wants a buddy to hang out with, I told you, magnets.
Oh my gosh, I could start tattooing this thing up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, born and bred to Riverbend. That's so cool. Get out of here.
You like it?
Oh my gosh. That is too cool.
Right?
Well, I appreciate you challenging them. Is there anything specifically like you want to plug a social media, or you're just selfless?
Dude, just be nice.
Well, futuristically, to have you back on and maybe have a selfish motive would be cool, because we would like.
I'll take that.
We would like to. Maybe you'll start a sticker magnet company.
Maybe.
And we'll plug that.
If I can figure out a good way to seal them, I would. I gotta figure out what I can do about that. Either like laminating them, but not messing up the back of the magnet.
That's just really cool.
I'm in the works of it, but I've got like 18 craft
sticker
item things.
Man, she could end up one of our sponsors. This might just blow up. It's the new fidget thing overnight. Overnight.
I don't know. Maybe. I gotta get better at cutting
Let
out
us
the
know
lines.
your thoughts. like, come on. She's in arts and crafts. She's got many talents.
Yeah.
Let's tap into those and bring fulfillment and light and beauty and all the things to your life.
Maybe that's a good challenge. Actually, I do have a request for you.
Perfect. Okay.
Make a handmade gift for somebody.
Ooh. Personalized.
Personal gift. Make a card. Draw them a picture.
Writing.
I don't even care if it's ugly. I tell that to people all the time. I'm like, what do you want? I'll pay you back.
A thank you note, like in your handwriting.
Give me something beautiful. You should see my walls. I have photo albums filled, because in high school I used to tell people to draw me something.
Okay.
As long as they signed it, right? So I have them all. I kept them all. So I have photo albums and like scrapbooks where I've taken drawings or handwritten
notes. But you're
notes.
organized. It's not like you're picking everything and it's not like you're a hoarder, right?
No, I have it in like no, if it's a little piece of trash, no, but if we took a picture and you wrote a note on the back, right? I'm saving that forever. Cool. If you wrote on a piece of gum wrapper like I love you 2018 or whatever, right? I'm saving that. And so now I have, not only do I have walls full of new recent stuff, but I have like actual photo albums where I've taped everything and
You're gonna have to take a couple of pictures and send them.
I will. I'll send them.
Check it out, because I'm sure. I mean, you could have. Excuse me. Your artistic. Yeah, I'd like to check that out. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. You can roll by my house one time and you can see all my crazy crafts.
Awesome, crazy.
Awesome, crazy.
Crazy's.
You can meet my dog, my Chico.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That would be cool. You could bring your Chico. Well, you're riding.
He rides with me.
Does he?
Yeah, I just have to get him.
Moose loves guests.
I have to get him a harness so I can actually hold him. Because I need my backpack to carry my stuff, but I also need my child.
Right.
In front, so. But he rides. I've got him a pair of goggles. He's been on the bike with me a couple times.
It was pretty fun when me and one of my brother-in-laws, when we had all the dirt bikes over, and it was like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, so all the littles were around. They were quite little, and they all wanted these rides, and we're like, well, how can we effectively, with the real small ones, like have them safe? So we actually got a really tight shirt. We cut a hole in it to poke their head out, and literally they'd sit inside the shirt, poke their head out, but we drew on the shirt a helmet.
Oh my gosh.
We drew the seatbelt on the shirt, so they were safe. They had a double strap seatbelt. They even had the helmet drawn on the shirt. But it's freaking hilarious.
You know that is like a core memory for them, though.
Oh,
like I remember the first time my dad took me on.
They're already riding.
Yeah,
like they're all starting to ride. It's so cool.
Starting them young.
And the girls too. It's getting pretty
Those
cool.
Crazy. I think kids are crazy because they don't have that true sense of death.
bounce back. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they don't.
You know.
And they bounce back. They have like I couldn't believe my niece the other day, like just straight up jumping off the couch, intentionally landing flat on your butt on the hard floor. And I was just like, I break my vertebrae. I break everything.
Yeah. My butt would be bruised.
Right.
I'd limp because I hit my hip
and she
weird
did it
or
over
something.
and over. And it was just like, stop, that hurts me watching.
Right.
But you just bounce back. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
We age.
What to be young again? What it would be.
I'm just grateful to have made it this far and come out. I'm so excited to see where you're on such a beautiful path. Keep up the hard work. Oh my gosh. Any burning desires? Things to talk about? Touch on?
No, off the top
You're
of my
feeling
head.
pretty good?
What about you? You got anything? Burning desires? Make a handmade gift for somebody, please.
To be that level of selfless and loving, and we don't even acknowledge how much of an impact we could have.
Yeah.
And that means from a negative attitude at the grocery store, gas station, or a server.
Yeah.
But also on the flip side, how positive, like how beautiful of impact we have just by a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a note on a receipt, like to a stranger.
The smallest little thing.
And it's interesting how you'll get giddy over it. You'll get out and you walk and you're just like, man, that sure felt good.
It does.
And
it is the nicest.
It's like, why, when you do things like that, it's like, why we gravitate towards the negative side of things? Like, it just seems easier because it's like, for a self-absorbed individual, I think that's what it boils down to. And we become a very self-serving culture.
Right.
We got to cut that out. We got to rewire. We got to reprogram.
Right. I think we need to get rid of instant gratification too.
Yes.
Work for it, babe.
100%. Words of wisdom. Charmaine.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making this happen.
Yeah.
We need to get you to bed, even though you've got this awesome energy we are super blessed and appreciate you making this happen. Bless you. I'm excited to do this again.
Yes. I'm excited.
Guys, thank you for joining us. Let us know what you think in your comments. Let's support this amazing woman.
Yay.
And let's unite.
And make handmade gifts.
Have a beautiful... Yes. Have a beautiful week. And we'll be seeing you soon. And stay tuned to Win the Hat.